This year, TISHA B'AV is on Sunday, but often that there is no Erev TISHA B'AV. Erev TISHA B'AV on a regular year, when Erev TISHA B'AV is not Shabbos, these many halachos, these simonim in Shulchan Aruch, Taf Kuf Nun Beis, the siman is Erev TISHA B'AV, Taf Kuf Nun Gimel, Suda Mafsekes. We spoke about it, a whole shiur about halachos of Erev TISHA B'AV. Suda Mafsekes, you sit on the floor, an egg. All of that is not negeya. Ad kedei kach, the opposite, the Shulchan Aruch says that this year, the time of the Suda Mafsekes, HALACHOS time, a person can eat kesuda shleime b'shaita, basar v'yayin. Though, if you take a look in the tour, it's interesting, these different shittas about it. Lahalacha, a person can eat regularly whatever he wants, HALACHOS, l'kavet Shabbos. The halachas of Erev TISHA B'AV this year are not negeya, it's Shabbos. And Memela, Mishum Kedusha Shabbos, Oynik Shabbos, we don't do any avelis on Shabbos Erev TISHA B'AV. However, there's a halacha of Erev TISHA B'AV that's applicable even though it's Shabbos. The Shulchan Aruch brings not to learn Erev TISHA B'AV after Chatzos. Though it's a shaila, and some say you could learn, the Ramah brings v'noagu. It's a minig. Important to note what's a minig and what's dina da'ashas. Sitting on the floor on TISHA B'AV is a minig. Learning on TISHA B'AV is aser medina da'ashas. It's important to know what's a minig, what's a inyan, what's a halacha. Al kaponim the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah says v'noagu shlei lilmoid be'erev TISHA B'AV b'chatzos ve'elach. That halacha is negeya even on Shabbos. The Ramah continues, ulechein imchal b'Shabbos. You don't learn on Shabbos, and therefore you don't say Pirkei Avos. If you look in the calendars, this week is skipped the Pirkei Avos. You don't say Pirkei Avos when you usually say Shabbos afternoon. Though the words of the Ramah are not so clear, it says ulechein imchal b'Shabbos. The Mishnah Berurah explains that it's referring to if Erev TISHA B'AV falls on Shabbos, then you don't learn from Chatzos. If TISHA B'AV falls on Shabbos and it's a nidcha, that's a separate discussion. We spoke about it. Is it the whole Shabbos? Is Shabbos TISHA B'AV? But we're talking about now TISHA B'AV is Sunday, something that's not common. Says the Ramah not to learn Erev TISHA B'AV from Chatzos. Tomorrow afternoon from Chatzos you shouldn't learn. The shaila is, why? Why? We don't do anything else on Shabbos that's avelis. So not to learn? Why would you not learn Erev TISHA B'AV, especially if it's on Shabbos? It could even be the shaila is, even on a regular year, why don't you learn Erev TISHA B'AV? The avelis of TISHA B'AV is on TISHA B'AV. And to expand the question, I saw Rabbi Scheiner ask this question. Like we mentioned before, basar v'yayin is mutter. A person HALACHOS can have a full HALACHOS, especially wants to have koyach to fast. You can have basar v'yayin, meat and wine, Shabbos afternoon. If you can have meat and wine, so then why can't you learn Torah? Explains the Chassam Sofer, and he says the following. The reason why you can't learn on Erev TISHA B'AV is not because of Erev TISHA B'AV. The avelis of TISHA B'AV, the Chamesh Inuyim, is all on TISHA B'AV, not Erev TISHA B'AV. The reason why you can't learn on Erev TISHA B'AV is because when a person learns, his mind, his brain, his thought is still in Torah hours later. So if you're going to learn Erev TISHA B'AV Shabbos afternoon, you were learning a Tosfos, TISHA B'AV by night, Motzei Shabbos, your brain is still going to be thinking and learning. TISHA B'AV by night, you're not allowed to learn. So Mela says the Chassam Sofer, the Isser to learn on Erev Tisha B'Av, including Shabbos, is not because of you're not allowed to learn Erev Tisha B'Av. You can't learn Erev Tisha B'Av in the afternoon because the learning in your mind is going to continue into Tisha B'Av. Agav, you see in Limud HaTorah how important when a person learns, it's not just you learn Agavdik. When a person learns, it's supposed to be absorbed, it's supposed to take a person over. Your mind is supposed to work in the learning at kedei kach that it's going to be nimshach into the night. L'maisa, it's not so clear b'chlal about not learning Erev Tisha B'Av, even b'choil. And like the Mishnah Berurah says, kol shkein b'Shabbos, a year like this year, that Erev Tisha B'Av is Shabbos, if Erev Tisha B'Av, if Shabbos is Tisha B'Av, that's a separate discussion. But a year like this year that Shabbos afternoon is Erev Tisha B'Av, there's even more what to be makel, and like the Lashon HaTaz is, v'haloymid lo hifsid. Somebody who learns, lo hifsid. I do want to point out, this is for you to know, if you're going to learn, or you're not going to learn. If you're not going to learn because you're not supposed to learn Erev Tisha B'Av, there is plenty what to learn, plenty in Yoni Tisha B'Av. B'doime, if the Olam remembers Erev Pesach Shachalias B'Shabbos, of course in the morning, the Sudas, there was a lot to talk about and a lot to rush, so to speak. But once it came somewhat early afternoon, there was time to rest. There was time to prepare for the Seder. Tisha B'Av is no different. Tisha B'Av is no different to prepare for Tisha B'Av. And if you're not sure if you could, the Chassam Sofer says you're allowed to learn on Tisha B'Av. Eicha, you're allowed to learn in Yoni Tisha B'Av. Somebody just told me, and I hope to go, that Rabbi Schleiser is going to speak Shabbos afternoon in Yoni Tisha B'Av, Hachana LeTisha B'Av. B'doime, Shabbos Agadol to prepare for Pesach, Shabbos Shuvah to prepare for Yom Kippur. A person should utilize Shabbos afternoon to prepare, to look into the kinas. There's a special kina because it's Matzah Shabbos. The Yavit says it's mutter if you start before Shabbos. If you want to be machmer, so start a little bit Erev Shabbos. One more nekuda that is also relevant for this year. In other words, we said the halachos of Erev Tisha B'Av are not applicable this year. It's Shabbos, with the exception of learning that's somewhat questionable. There's one more nekuda. The Shulchan Aruch says, "V'chein lo yetayil erev Tisha B'Av." A person shouldn't take a walk erev Tisha B'Av. Now, there's a difference between a walk erev Tisha B'Av and a walk on Tisha B'Av. The Goyes Baruch Tam spells this out for every year. On Tisha B'Av, a person shouldn't take a walk, even for just as a walk. If he needs a walk, you don't take a walk. Erev Tisha B'Av, a person should not take a walk for pleasure. It's not availus, but pleasure, not to do pleasure, you don't take a walk Erev Tisha B'Av. Memela, this Shabbos Kodesh, Shabbos afternoon, after the Suda, if a person needs to walk, in other words, it's not just a leisure, a pleasure walk. A person could take the walk. It's only on Tisha B'Av that he shouldn't. But if it's just a walk of pleasure, it's negeya, even on Shabbos, v'chein lo yetayil, person shouldn't take a walk. We should be zoicha to have a wonderful Shabbos and to be able to connect to the message of Tisha B'Av, to be mis'abel and also be mitzapa for the Bias Mashiach and the Binyan Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi b'mheira b'yameinu. Have a wonderful Shabbos.